Welcome back to the Writing Corner. By this time, fellow author, you have already determined when you're going to write and where you're going to write. You've created your space. Now the discussion is, what do I do with that time? What am I doing with the time that I've created for myself? Well, initially for this session, we're just going to talk about creating an outline and then what we can pull into compile information. So first is two parts. First is creating an outline, which is your roadmap. You want to take your readers on a smooth journey. Keep in mind an example of you're driving someone to a destination. Anybody who is a passenger, they do not want to be jerked around in the car, or they don't want to be in a car that switches lanes. You're getting off, you don't know where you're going, you're all over the place. I just want to get to my destination, but you don't know your journey there. What we want to do is be prepared for the journey, and I'm talking about driving still, so you can look and see which route you can take. And what we're going to talk about today are the routes that get your reader from where you start them to where you want them to end. So I want to give you a couple of scenarios because, again, if you don't know where to start, that should not stop you from writing. So I'm just going to share some information. Now, once you get this information, you're free to tweak it. We're just learning some basis here, and then you can take and build on that. And I believe that once the creativeness comes out of you, you'll be presenting your stories any way you want, right? So let's go with option A. Let's say that you have a pivotal life experience that you believe the world needs to hear. And so you have your theme, you have your theme, and then you have your life experience, but then there is a Bible character or a Bible story that's closely or is associated with the theme that you want to share with your readers. And so the first approach would be, for me, to take a Bible story, and then what you do is you're reading through in its entirety, and then you're making notations of points of the story that jump out to you, that are significant to you. And because you have in your mind your experience, you see where it closely associates with what you've gone through. And so you're creating subpoints from your theme based on the Bible story as you are reading it. Once you have your points down from the Bible story, from beginning all the way to the end, to its conclusion, the story's conclusion, you then take your life story and you plot it on top. And so you're just making thoughts. You're not really going into depth. You're just making thoughts. I'll talk about this here. I'll talk about this here. I'll talk about this here, all the way to the end. Okay? So that's one loose outline. That's one loose outline that you can use. One biblical story, one biblical character that you can just unveil and just go through and list out the parts of their life or the story's importance to you. So that's one way. Another way is you can say, well, Nikki, I already know what I want to talk about in my theme. I know how I want to break my theme down. I know the different points I want to hit. I know what I want from my life to go inside. Okay, fine. You've outlined that journey. Now you take the Bible, and the reason why I want to keep saying the Bible is because we are Christian authors. And what we want to leave people with is the main part of what we want to leave people with is the Bible. Our story, our life experiences, they're only a side piece, like a side dish. They're not the main course. It's not the main course. All right. So you have your outline of your encounter, of your experience, and then you take the story, and then you start picking out the pieces of the story that fits, that goes through, and it kind of it will expound on what you shared, or you're drawing a parallel from your life to the life in the Bible, which makes your experience, in each instance, it makes your experience relatable. You've taken the experience that's in the Bible and you've brought it to life through your life. That is key. Because sometimes people can just read the Bible and they're like, okay, well, that was back then. Well, now you're the right now. Okay? You're the right now. All right, so now you've done your outline, you've taken the Bible story, the character, you've plotted in under the subpoints of what you want to discuss. You may want to jot down chapter and verses, and be a block. It could be the whole chapter. Whatever it is that you see that is of significance to what you want to share. So that's option 2. Last option, let's say there's a theme and you have multiple experiences with your theme. You have multiple parts of your life that you can pull in. That's cool. You pull in the multiple pieces of your life. But let's say for the Bible, if there's multiple pieces and the experiences could be different, it's okay. Use different verses that support what you want to say. Use different biblical characters that support what you want to say. Use different biblical stories that support what you want to say. Key, using the Bible, okay? And so now you've plotted out your theme. You know what part of your life you want to use to support the theme, the sub points of your theme. You know what biblical verses, text, story, character that you want to plot in. So now you have a roadmap. You have 3 different roadmaps that you can use, and you're taking your person on a journey. Now, step 2, there is the compiling of the information. So once, by using the Bible, you have to approach the Bible in each instance. It must be from a studious perspective. You have to study the scripture. Now, what you may find is that what you thought something meant, what you thought something meant could change. And if it changes, be flexible in your outline to change what you're sharing. You may even need to say, okay, maybe I don't want to use that, or maybe I could put in another story that fits. Be open to change. And so now at this point, you're still at the beginning stages, you're compiling information. You want to make sure that what you're saying fits what you've put inside of your text. You're going to start reading. This is where it becomes a little bit tedious when you're compiling information. You have to read the text. You have to make sure the text is saying what you believe it to say. If you're not strong in that area, I would suggest getting with a local minister in your church or a pastor who you know has a good handle on the Word of God and can help you get the information. Because what you want to do is you want to excavate, you want to unveil, you want to unpack what the Bible is saying as you go through each part. And you're just taking part by part, by part by part. And after you've done that, you go back and you start to unveil the parts of your life. Or if you started the outline with parts of your life, you want to open up all the parts of your life. And then you want to go back and open up all the parts of the Bible. However you do it, you're unpacking those 2 pieces first. Your experience or experiences and the Bible. You're unpacking all of that. And you're going through each part of your outline, and you're just doing what I heard this term on my writing journey called a thought vomit. You want to give yourself a thought vomit, and you just want to write out everything. Now, in terms of compiling information, you may not just want to use the Bible in your life. At this point, there may be quotes that zing into your mind. Write the quotes out. Make sure you getting the person who said it. There may be another story that supports under your sub theme that you want to jump in there. Right? Put it in. The idea is, again, thought vomit. You want to put under each section, and you do this piece by piece, right? So after you've gotten your outline and you're still dedicating your hour, 3 to 4 times a week. The outline could take maybe no more than a couple of days. So now as you're writing, you dedicate 1 hour to one section. Dedicate 1 hour to one section, and you're just thinking thought vomit. I'm throwing everything in. I'm saying everything that I think fits underneath this particular category, under this theme, under this topic, under this subtopic. And that's it. So you create your outline, and then you compile the information that you want to fit in. And through the information that you fit in, you're pulling out the information from the Bible. You're unveiling the part of your life. You may throw in other quotes at this point. You can throw in definitions of words. You could throw in other people's stories that support what you want to say. There's no rhyme or reason. You're just throwing in the information. Okay? That's the next step for you as you are going on your journey into authorhood. We're going to take this step by step. So the next time we come together, we're going to talk about, okay, so now I have all this information that I've written or I've typed up. It gets into, I'm going to call it a soft edit. I'm going to call it a soft edit. And that's, I'll give you a tidbit. Is now I want to know, how does this read? Is it smooth? Is it a soft entry? Is there a way in which I've introduced the subtopic? Have I smoothed out the journey? Have I come to a soft conclusion of that chapter, but led them into something else? All right. Have I left? So I'm not going to give you more, but the next time we come together, we're going to talk about a soft edit. And this follows how you have already outlined, you filled in your outline pieces, you've given up some information, and really you're getting to almost a completed first draft at this point, at this outline and filling in the information. But again, use your hour to break down each of your components. And just take your time, no rush. If you waited as long as I waited, you'll be all right, because we're at the end of the day. You want to give people something that they can really talk about. That's what you want. You want to give, you need to read this. So the more you take your time to get to the place of what you want to say, the better your book will be.